Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's my honor as usual to be greeting you and always bringing this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing to look no other place but to look inwardly and to discover that your real identity is your divinity. That's the reason why I want to speak to you concerning attitude and how attitude is everything. And the reason why I choose to speak to you concerning attitude, it is because Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, he would have taught Neville Goddard true Christianity, and he taught him that it all have to do with positive self-image psychology. Therefore, he had to have the right attitude towards himself and others by having the understanding that it is his own thoughts that is creating his reality and that he can create his reality consciously. Now, as we all know the story of how Neville would have grown up in the Caribbean and leave the Caribbean when he was 17 years of age for America. And he first of all worked as a dancer. And then he got into study spiritual things. And to cut a long story short, he ended up meeting Abdullah by the invitation of a friend who used to go to Abdullah's lecture. And Abdullah told him that he was late. As a matter of fact, he was 6 months late, and Abdullah went on to say to him that way back in China they were both philosophers, but he decided to forget, and he was bringing him back to that place of remembrance. And so Neville Goddard would have studied for a length of time with Abdullah, and after studying for 5 years with Abdullah, there comes a time when Neville had this burning desire to visit his family back in Barbados. And it was around this time that Abdullah was teaching him that attitude is everything, and that his attitude would determine his altitude. Now, when we look at the world today, we can know based and people's outcome based on their environment, what is their attitude towards themselves and what is the attitude towards others. How do they see themselves? And my brothers and my sisters, I want to say to you that when a people have grown up to believe in a God outside of themselves and to believe in a Savior outside of themselves, their attitude towards life would be one that is based on fear, one that is based on mediocrity and lack, because they will have doubts, condemnation, and they will have low self-image, inferiority complex, and low self-esteem. So their attitude towards life would be one that is quite miserable. And they would turn around and blame the devil for everything that is taking place in their life, and fail to realize that man is not the creatures of circumstances, but circumstances are the creatures of man. Because we create our reality by our thoughts, and thoughts become things. Because what we dwell on most of the time is what would become. And that is why, in order for people to have the right attitude towards themselves and others, they must have the right understanding of self. They must know who they are. And that is why it is very important to interpret the scripture from a psychological standpoint to each and every one. And so Abdullah taught Neville Goddard that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That it is not literal, neither is it secular history. I'm saying to you, those who will accept that the Bible is psychological and hold themselves responsible for their thoughts and their actions, those are the ones who will realize that it is their own thoughts that is creating their reality. Those are the ones who will look inwardly and realize that God is man's human imagination. Therefore, they will have the right attitude towards life itself. And that is why when we look around, we see those who are contributing the most to society. We see they have positive attitude towards life. We see they are not the ones who are going around being all superstitious and religious and using condemnatory words towards others and judging others based on morality. But we see those who understand that we are one and there's only one universal consciousness. Those are the ones who realize that the rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to their service or their contribution. And so they use their mind power to achieve their every desire to make this world a better place. So my brother and my sisters, if you would look at your life and judge yourself from an honest point of view, if you're not satisfied with the life that you're living, then you need to check your attitude towards yourself, your attitude towards life, and your attitude towards others. How do you see yourself? What do you think of yourself? Now, one of the most important questions was asked in the Bible. And that question was, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And some say you are a prophet. Some say you're John. Some say you're Elijah. And then the question was asked, but whom do you say that I am? And the art of hearing and understanding, which is Peter, replied, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Until you accept your Christ self, your higher self, your I amness, you'll never have the right attitude towards life, self, and towards others. But when you realize who you are, then you will know what kind of behavior and what manner of conversation that your life would reflect. That's why you would order your conversation aright. Because you realize that whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, once it have virtue in it, that you are to think on these things. And you will not be conformed to the systematic way of thinking, but you will be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that is why attitude is everything. Every great invention, every great success story, it goes right back to attitude. You get in poor results because of your poor attitude. You get in successful results because of your successful attitude. There are those who will give 10% of effort. There are those who will give 50 and 60 and 70 and 80 and 90 and even 100% towards their goals and their dreams, who would not waste time blaming others, but who would look to themselves and ask themselves, how may I serve humanity? And that is why, my brother and my sisters, there is no one to change but self. And the quicker you understand that there's no one to change but self, is the quicker you will change your mindset, your thinking, your attitude. So my brother, my sisters, today I just want to encourage you to have the right attitude towards yourself. For Abdullah taught Neville Goddard that he must have the right attitude towards himself if he would travel to Barbados. For when he instructed him to believe in his imagination, he was teaching him to trust himself, to believe in himself, to embrace himself, to have the right attitude towards self. It wasn't until he was willing to have the right attitude towards self by following the instructions that was given to him by Abdullah that he was able to be successful in making his trip to Barbados in a time of a Great Depression, in a time when he had no work and he had no money. But the universe provided the money for him. The universe provided the suit for him to wear. The universe provided the first class ticket for him to ride, where he ride first class. Even when he went to the shipping company and they told him that he was going to travel third class, and he went to Abdullah, Abdullah refused to listen to him speaking about going third class. Abdullah said, who said that you went to Barbados? And who said you went first class? I told you already that you went first class. Abdullah didn't have a third class attitude, a mindset towards himself. He knew who he was, and he lived the life of his conviction, of his I amness. And that is why I'm saying to you, my brother and my sisters, you must accept the fact that I am the way, the truth, and the life. And that you can never say I am and not referring to yourself. So my brother, my sister, my encouragement to you is to embrace yourself, believe in yourself, trust yourself, for the self of man is God. And God is your imagination, the creator in everyone. And there's no other God, there's no God outside of yourself. For God is life, and life is God. You cannot separate God from life, or life from God. Therefore, God is that creative, infinite being in you, who is your power to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, just as Abdullah would have encouraged Neville Goddard to have the right attitude towards life, to have the right attitude towards himself, this is my way of encouraging you to have the right attitude towards yourself and towards your goals and towards your dreams, and order your conversation right. And remember, when you order, all you have to do is wait, for it is an appointed time, but it is sure. So with that being said, I want to thank you very much, and I want to say to you, if this is the very first time you're listening to me, what I'm saying is really resonating with you and is helping you in any way, I want to say to you, if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. But before I leave you, I just want to remind you that this message I bring to you, that it is the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And to be honest with you, my brothers and sisters, hadn't it been that my whole body was filled with light when the single eye opened within me, I wouldn't be here bringing this message to you. For when it happens to me, it's when I would have felt that great and mighty shaking, and I would have heard the unearthly wind, that mighty rushing wind, and I ascend like a fiery being, and came out of my skull and became invisible, became one with the wind. Then I get to understand the virgin birth and understand the resurrection, understand the real Calvary, the real Golgotha, and understand that my body is a tomb in which the Christ is buried. That's the reason why I always place my hand right above my skull and give you the symbol of the single eye, saying to you, never let anyone make you believe that the symbol of the single eye, that it's an evil symbol. No, it is the all-seeing eye of God in you, who is your imagination. For you would have an awakened imagination and come to discover that the single eye represents the eye of the mystics, the eye of the prophets, the seers, those who will vibrate beyond humanity into their divinity. And that's why I always say to you, when you have this marvelous experience, you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, as in the S-U-N, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And you're told in Psalms 84:11 that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And truly, the sun has never withhold any good thing from humanity. For the sun is what powers all of humanity and gives all of humanity its energy. Then in Malachi chapter 1 verse 2, you're told that the sun, as in the S-U-N, of righteousness shall arise in you, it healing in his wings. And truly the sun has risen in me, and I'm bringing healing to all of humanity. That is why my encouragement to you is to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which this power is the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire. For that was the message that was taught to Neville Goddard by Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, our ancestor. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.